Other interesting business news, you have all the cars that we moderately loved, some not so much, and they are dying in 2024. Some iconic, some mildly boring and amusing, but thanks to Car and Driver, we're going to talk about the ones that we will no longer see coming up in 2025. Oh, whoopsies. Now, this has come to us thanks to Ralph Albarsh. They say there's a couple going. So one of the first ones is the Audi TT and TT Coupe and Convertible. The Audi TT is one of the best little fun cars out there. It's a little Audi Coupe, and back in the day, you can get it with a good old manual transmission, which every car should have by default. Unfortunately, Volkswagen Group has not been doing great lately. Stock's down about 20% past 6 months. And the CEO, I'm actually surprised he said this publicly, said that they're no longer competitive as a brand. Now, keep in mind, Volkswagen Auto Group owns many things we love and hold dear to our heart, including Audi, including Lamborghini, including Porsche or Porsche, if you feel so inclined, and even Ducati and a couple other exotic car brands. So, kind of sad that they're getting rid of one of their iconic little sports cars. Another one they're getting rid of, even more iconic, the Audi R8, as well, coupe and convertible, which styling wise, that looks like one of the coolest cars out there. And of course, they used to come with an iconic 12-cylinder, good old V10. Sorry, brain fart. It is also, again, they own Lamborghini, which every Lamborghini should have a V12. And many people just say this is a discounted Lamborghini because, spoiler alert, they use a lot of the same parts. But yeah, back in the day, you can get this with a V8. Although a lot of those did come with a stick shift. And then, of course, you get it with the V10. I think they even had an e-gear one or an electric one for the 12 people who wanted it. Which, and the Audi R8, when I was a kid, that was one of the coolest cars out there. And it's hard to see that go away. Looks like they first started production in 2008 and went all the way down to here. And that, and I mean, I think it really came to the cultural provenance when Tony Stark had one in one of those movies, which, yeah, a lot of people love those Marvel movies, like roller coasters. Sad to see the good old Audi R8. And then, of course, the women know it because it was in the one terrible acting movie. What was it? 50 Shades of Grey, which, geez Louise. I've only seen previews of that. And, yeah, I've seen better acting literally anywhere else. But, nevertheless, rest in peace, the Audi R8. An icon you were. And you also are going to be losing the Chevy Bolt EV, which, I don't know how many people are really going to miss this. They say it was they claimed it was the most affordable electric vehicle in 2023. For now, Chevrolet intends to launch a second generation Bolt. The brand has yet to share what exactly the next gen battery electric hatch arrives or when it will arrive. It can confirm, though, there won't be a 2024 model, which doesn't look pretty. It worked most of the time, usually, but I actually never saw one on the streets, anecdotally speaking. Have you? That one, I'm not just, you should be too surprised. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people at that car's funeral reminiscing about fun times they had in it. We're also going to be losing the Chevy Bolt EUV, which looks even more ugly. I'm not saying I could do better by just chicken scratching on a piece of printer paper, but nah, maybe not that far off. Now, they say that Chevrolet is temporarily nixing the entire Bolt lineup, with the Bolt EUV getting kicked out the door at the end of 2023 model year. They won't be missing the middle driving dynamics. We will mourn the loss of another affordable long-range battery EV. Again, have you seen one on the road? Granted, it's sort of anecdotal experience. I'm in the great state, or some might argue the straight country, of Texas, or rudimentarily called Texas. And yeah, again, I'm not surprised it's getting canceled. Maybe they must have sold really well in the Midwest or something. Now, another more exciting vehicle is going to be the Chrysler 300, which that looks, as you might say, sick. I mean, that thing goes all the way up to, the SRT with the good old V8. Now, that was a pretty nice performance sedan. Now, they say that, quote, Chrysler's two-car lineup for 2023 model year, Pacifica 300, falls into just one for 2024, the demise of 300. The big rear-engine sedan never failed to endear us, at least when there was a V8 under the hood, even if it long since started to show its age. To commemorate its run, Chrysler released a limited edition 300C with a brawny 485 horsepower, 6.4 liter V8 under the hood. Expect the 300 successor to ditch the V8 to embrace EVs. And probably the straight six that Stellantis is kind of using for pretty much every one of their vehicles, which you'll have a turbo. But again, going from a good old V8, sedan to a little inline six, The inline six is only appropriate in a BMW, I would argue. That's probably the best use case. And they actually have the integrity to give the customers what they want, also known as a stick shift, having 3 pedals and rolling the gears. You can't beat that feeling. If you haven't had that opportunity, I can't implore you to do that quickly enough. And yeah, I'm trying to remember what year it was. I did get the privilege of driving one of those back when I was in the automobile community, almost 10 years ago now. The Chrysler 300 with the V8 had some get up and go to it. It was one of those things where you never expected it because it didn't have the best styling. But again, for a good old V8, sedan, it was a pretty fun vehicle. Granted, of course, everything should have a manual, but nevertheless. Another one we're going to be missing is the Dodge Charger, which, don't get me started, the new one's going to be an EV, and then a 2-door with a straight 6 engine with an automatic transmission. I nearly threw up a little bit on the inside there. Now, they say that, quote, like the Chrysler 300 Cushion, the 4-door Dodge Charger sedan bites the dust at the close of 23 model year. Despite its age, the Charger maintained to keep things interesting with a number of V8 variants over the years, including a more than 700 horsepower Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat, which styling does look pretty good. I can appreciate that. And yeah, if you can actually find one with a stick shift, that's a pretty fun ride. It's something about a V8 stick shift, like grocery getter or sedan. It just makes me smile a little bit. And of course, now that this is dying, being supplanted by disposable EV charger, which, yeah, in terms of search engine optimization and marketing, calling your EV Dodge Charger, like, yeah, it's not gonna be good for people to try to find it. But unfortunately, rest in peace, what used to be Dodge American Muscle. Another one we're losing is the Dodge Challenger, which that, as youth might say, is peak OG. Like, they had much. I mean, talk about diversity. You can get everything. I think the cheapest package is like 36 grand for. And again, they did a V6. I wouldn't get it, but of course they had the option. And it went all the way up to like 130 grand for like the top Banana Falcon XYZ Demon Banana Falcon package with a good old, of course, Hellfent engine. And of course, you had the option for a stick shift, like every car should have by default. I mean, that was, I venture to say, if that's peak American muscle. Because Camaro was obviously pretty good. They had some awesome options with the ZL1, the Z28, which of course stick shift options as well, big old V8s. Mustang is of course iconic. You could argue that the Mustang won the pony war in the end because everything else has died or been bastardized into an EV or straight six. But yeah, something about one of the best exhaust notes ever. I still remember the first time going on a ride along in a Charger and the Challenger. Like both those vehicles, exhaust notes are incredible, especially the Challenger. And you had the good old pistol grip, stick shift. Those are pretty cool. And again, the send-off, you gotta love the marvel of engineering. It's so sad that the company is being forced to go electric because of government I was about to say ineptitudes, government coercion and regulations. Previously, I had a CEO of Dodge saying, "We don't care what the market says. We're always gonna make a V8. We know our customers," and it was one of the best bangs for your buck on the market, bar none. And I mean, if you had a Pulse, you can get a credit with the Stellantis and get okay terms. And yeah, and of course they kept the old stick shift alive. Now, unfortunately, the Challenger, I mean, I can barely speak, it's so sad. The Dodge Challenger is going away, and they say, quote, though Dodge tinkered with the Challenger over the years, improving the interior and likely updating styling, a little bit, the 2-door muscle cars remain just largely unchanged since it debuted in 2008. God, time flies. No surprise then that the current generation Charger is meeting its maker. Also, Dodge has no immediate plans to be replaced for 2024. However, this might hurt your earballs. The battery electric Charger Daytona SRT concept shows the brand has plans to eventually fill the Challenger's coupe-sized hole in the lineup. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with making a new vehicle and making a new EV. There are some people who want it, not people who know how to calculate an ROI or the cost of owning something like that that'll not last 20 years like a good old gas engine. But I partially digress. There's a lot of people who love EVs. And yet they just keep killing the most beautiful things. And I understand they're being coerced by government regulations and all these de facto gas bans. Maybe someday I'll get into politics. Although, I don't want to say the odds are zero, but yeah, I don't know how many people would vote for me. It'd be a fascinating, probably depressing thing. But nevertheless, I would at least make it a lot more better for businesses in the free market, which are words that some Americans don't even know these days. Other interesting vehicles are being canceled this year. The Ferrari F8 Tributo, which, looks pretty cool. It's a Ferrari. Interestingly enough, it's not red, which, I mean, when you think Ferrari, you think red. And traditionally, good old big engine. And, really, really traditionally, back in the day, a stick shift. they killed stick shift years ago because, yeah, they don't like money. If they really like money, they can maximize so much more profits just by making a stick shift because people are paying 2 to 3 times more for a stick shift vintage Ferrari than an automatic. When I say vintage, I think they stopped making them in a 2012-ish era. I mean, Ferrari is probably the brand I know the least about in terms of a performance brand. But yeah, I honestly don't know how many people are going to miss this Ferrari. I mean, there's always wait list for Ferrari, so more often than not, maybe some people want it, won't be able to get it. But let's see, what do they have to say about this Ferrari? They say the Ferrari F8 lives on in top tier spider guys, but its coupe body style, Turbino, is no more. In fact, Ferrari imported just one 2023 F8 Turbino before ending production of the mid-engine 8-cylinder coupe. Another, oh, I don't know how many people the Fiat 500X, which I think I've seen 2 on the road. I don't know anyone who like gladly, fondly has a Fiat in America. I mean, most hilarious I know it from the acronym, fix it again, Tony, which is what people say Fiat stands for. I mean, in America, Fiat's mostly known for being a bastardized brand that they just slap Jeep logos on, since, again, the parent company Stellantis owns both brands, and Fiat famously bought out Chrysler Jeep Dodge in the 2009 bankruptcy. So, oh well, no more Fiat. They say Fiat's lone vehicle in its U.S. lineup, the 500X, fails to see 2024 model year. Filling the hole will be the 2024 500E. Subcompact EV is far different than its 500X SUV, the successor to the 500 that Fiat pulled from the shores at the end of the prior decade. So it's going to become an EV. Who wants an EV Fiat? Maybe 2 guys in the US built named Tony. I know a lot of companies are working on EVs. Some are doing some fantastical amounts of engineering. I don't think of Fiat when I think of EVs. And I know the company's going to use that same tech around all the platforms or all the brands that they own, but yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know how good that's going to go out. Another one's biting dust is the Ford Transit Connect, which, interesting name for marketing. Yes, you're doing a transit van, you are connecting some products, some services to some people. They say that the compact van market is no more following the trend sparks of the Chevy City Express, Nissan NV200, and Ram ProMaster City. The Ford Transit Connect goes the way of the Dodo. With the close of the 2023 model year, the Transit Connect was a great little workhorse for small businesses with urban operations and a flexible cargo area. Transit Connect buyers will now have to convert their full-size Transit to make do with a compact pickup such as the Maverick, or make do with the Maverick, which, interesting. In terms of space optimization, I would have thought this would last longer. I know in terms of that body style and that kind of usage, Mercedes Sprinter is one of the most popular ones. But yeah, also for small businesses and for all that stuff, Maverick's also a lot of great option too. See, scrolling down, what else are we gonna miss? The Jeep Cherokee. Oh no, what will Elizabeth Warren drive? Now, it says, more than a decade after nixing the Cherokee, Jeep has resurrected the model for 2014. Nearly a decade later, Jeep is once again pulling the plug on the Cherokee. We wager that the nameplate will return in the coming years, possibly during the forthcoming battery electric SUV, which I don't know who wants a battery. I know 3 people who might want a battery Jeep. And again, I think they said the first Jeep, the Wagoneer, one of those is going to be like $79,000 for the first one, which again, price point will probably decrease over time with be able to amortize that cost. But yeah, I don't know a lot of people have Jeep and Cherokees. Perhaps that's why. I'm also going to lose a Jeep Renegade, which that's trash to begin with, because again, it's not really a Jeep. In terms of cost optimization, it's pretty good. You just take a rudimentary Fiat and slap on a piece of plastic and say it's a Jeep. I've seen a couple of those throughout the years, but I don't know anyone who like loves their Jeep Renegade or brags about it or like smiles when they drive it. They say that Jeep will cull its littlest SUV from the lineup at the close of 2023 model year. The low Renegade combined its scaled-down Wrangler-like looks and responsibility capable off-road performance, but its small size and more than $30K starting price and chintzy interior made it a tough sell to the masses. The fact Jeep also sells a similarly priced and more spacious Compass certainly didn't help the Renegade's fate for sticking around. Let's see here. We have to speed up because a lot of these cars are dying, unfortunately. The Kia Rio, which, not surprised about that one. Kia Stinger. Oh, that one's gonna hurt a little bit. That was a cool, good old, grocery getter. Yeah, I think they had the V8 option as well. Mazda CX-9, which Mazda is somehow still in business. Let's be honest, they're only known for the Miata, which is a great sporting vehicle. A lot of people, that's great for track days. Missing the Mazda MX-30. I'd be surprised if they sold more than 30 of them. The McLaren 720S Coupe and Convertible, the most reliable sports car on the market. That's a joke because, yeah, they are notorious for having the worst reliability. They make, I'm trying to think of the most unreliable thing. It's the most unreliable sports car out there. I mean, they depreciate like a rock. They're fun to drive. I have friends who have it and they love it. But yeah, they have so many electrical issues. It's not even funny. They said that the McLaren 720S is dead in name only. In its place, this spring, the 750S, essentially a worked over 720S. As its name implies, the 750S packs approximately 30 more horsepower than its numerically lesser 710 horsepower predecessor. So it's going away, but in all reality, they're probably just going to give it a little bit of a facelift, add a little bit more horsepower. Nothing. I'm not sure how many people will actually feel longing in their heart for the specific model, especially because it's not the McLaren F1. So I don't know. To me, that's the pinnacle McLaren that everyone kind of lusts after, which again is kind of a cliche in sport in the automotive community. Is the pinnacle car for decades, the fastest, best engineered, good old V12 with the stick shift. It's amazing. Going down, you're also going to be missing the Mercedes C-Class Coupe and Convertible. Which, oh, that kind of stinks because coupes are fun and fewer companies are making them. They also have the Mercedes CLS Class, will be going away. Mercedes E-Class Coupe. A lot of consolidation in the Mercedes brand. And also the Mercedes Matris. They say it's another full-size sedan, no longer be reaching our stores as Mercedes nixes a mid-size van from the 2024 lineup. Also have Nissan Maxima, which Nissan is consolidating a lot of their brands and costs. Which, yeah, that's probably one of the most popular things Nissan sold, that and the Altima, in terms of overall their revenue and number of units pushed out. So it'll be interesting to see what consumers move over to. Now they say that Nissan is the latest auto manufacturer to exit the full-size sedan segment. Unlike Ford, however, Nissan isn't abandoning sedans entirely. The Versa, Sentra, and Altima occupying the subcompact, compact, and mid-size sedan segments. Don't count the Maxima out yet, either, as the nameplate is due to adorn a forthcoming electric sedan from Nissan, which I don't know about that. Also going to be missing the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo, which is not 911 or Cayman, so I wouldn't want it. But nevertheless, they say it's going to be going the way of the Dodo, which, yeah, looks kind of cool for, 4-door. Unfortunately, I think it's an automatic only, so I don't know how much fun it would really be to drive. But a lot of iconic cars, or not iconic, some memorable cars that are biting the dust this year is the ever moving evolution of automobiles. Be interested to see how much subcompact and compact cars can really stay around, as again, most of the profits coming from automotive companies these days for years have been trucks, SUVs, and crossovers and sports cars. That's where a lot of the profits come from. A lot of the entry-level small cars, they actually lose money on it. So it's good for getting people introduced to the brand and like a long-term ROI for it, which is why a lot of them used to tolerate those costs for years. But yeah, a lot of companies are pinching their belts, trying to make every penny count. It'll be interesting to see if some more companies just abandon it altogether. Let me know in the comments, are you going to miss any of those vehicles? Have you even heard of some of those? As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.